Welcome back to the Malaysia Money Matters Show. It's the 14th of January 26.
Good to be here.
We've got quite a bit to get through today. It looks like corporate Malaysia is really consolidating, while the regulators are, well, they're signaling some major long-term shifts.
Exactly. We're looking at moves that are going to shape the market for years, not just quarters. This is big picture stuff.
Okay, so let's jump right into the biggest corporate story. Sunway's proposed takeover of IJM Corporation. It's about RM 11 billion cash and share.
It is, but the math is getting tricky, and it all has to do with the upcoming IPO of Sunway Healthcare.
Right, so what's the issue there?
Well, the new Sunway shares that would go to IJM shareholders, they won't be eligible for the dividend and specie from that healthcare IPO.
And that's a distribution of Sunway Healthcare shares, not cash.
Exactly. And analysts are saying that distribution is worth about 18 cent per Sunway share. So, that effectively lowers the real value of the takeover offer.
So IGM shareholders are being told to maybe hold out for a better deal.
That's the advice you're seeing now, yes.
Okay, speaking of restructuring, Capital A, they're in the final phase of their recovery plan.
They are. The AirAsia X share distribution is set for this Friday, January 16th.
And what does that unlock for them?
This is the key move. It allows Capital A to finally apply to Exit Practice Note 17.
That's the classification for financially distressed companies, right?
The very one. They can apply on January 19th, and they're also renaming AirAsia X to just AirAsia, consolidating all their short and medium haul carriers under one brand.
Smart. Let's move over to the ACE market. It's been buzzing.
It really has. Sumiko Capital, the toy distributor, had a great debut.
Up 50% I saw. It closed at 37.5 cent versus the 25 cent IPO price.
But the really interesting one for me is Foodie Media, their first quarter post-IPO, and they posted a record profit of RM 3.78 million.
That's huge for a digital media group.
It just crystallizes how fast ad spending is moving into digital. High-impact, performance-based content. It's commanding a real premium right now.
And on the property side, we're seeing some divergence. Selangor Dredging bought land in PJ for RM 63 million.
Yeah, and they're planning a high-rise serviced apartment project. The estimated GDV, gross development value, is over R500 million ringgit.
RM 507 million. But on the flip side, Velocity Capital Partner sold its whole stake in Bank Holdings.
For a huge loss, too. They sold for RM 9.43 million, basically saying they needed to avoid any more downside risk.
It's the tale of two markets. Strategic buying versus just stopping the bleeding.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk regulation, because there have been a few bombshells. First, Sarawak.
Right. Premier Abeng Johari announced a new carbon levy on the oil, gas, and energy sectors. It's starting this year.
And the money goes into a climate change fund.
A dedicated one, yes. It
Yeah.
shows a really serious commitment. They're not just punishing emitters, they're creating a tool to directly fund conservation and grid modernization.
And then the big one for the labor market. A huge change to expatriate employment pass requirements.
This is dramatic. They're doubling the minimum salary for all categories starting in June 2026.
So category I will now be RM 20,000 and above.
It is. And, that really suggests a major push towards high-value domestic labor. It could really restrict the flow of that mid-tier expat talent that a lot of companies rely on to scale up.
Companies need to start planning for that now.
Urgently.
Okay, quickly on commodities, the Malaysian Palm Oil Board is launching a reference price for used cooking oil, or UCO.
This is all about transparency. UCO is a critical feedstock for biofuel globally, especially for sustainable aviation fuel. A formal price protects the smaller operators in a growing market.
Got it. Let's do a quick legal wrap. The Court of Appeal awarded Hannah Yeo RM 250,000 in her defamation suit against former IGP Musa Hassan.
And the court's message is very clear. Authority doesn't give you the right to spread falsehoods.
And former PM Najib Razak lost his appeal to reinstate a suit against former AG Tommy Thomas.
The court just said the suit was premature.
All right, let's look globally. Central bankers are showing full solidarity with Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
And that's a direct response to the pressure campaign from the Trump administration. It's a clear signal about the importance of central bank independence for global financial stability.
And in the U.S., December's core CPI inflation came in a bit cooler than expected.
Rose just 0.2%. That basically cemented bets that the Fed will be cutting rates soon.
Which sent gold soaring.
To a record high. U.S. $4,631.19 an ounce. The market optimism just flooded right into commodities.
And finally, AI. The investment continues to pour in.
It does. SK Hynix announced a U.S. $12.9 billion plan for a new chip packaging facility in South Korea. They need to meet the insane demand for high bandwidth memory, or HBM.
The memory used for training AI models.
Exactly. And even rivals are teaming up. Apple and Google confirmed a multi-year deal. Google's AI will now power Siri. It shows that no one company can do this alone.
So if we pull it all together, we're seeing fast consolidation in Malaysia, a huge regulatory push towards sustainability and high-skilled labor, and massive global investment in the AI supply chain.
And that leads to the final thought for you to consider. When you look at the doubling of expatriate salary requirements on one hand and the push for mechanization in palm oil on the other, you have to ask, what broader long-term shift is Malaysia prioritizing in its labor and investment strategy as it tries to move up that economic value chain?
A great question to chew on. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. If you want more insights into the day's most important financial and political stories, be sure to subscribe to the Malaysia Money Matters podcast. Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you would like a deeper dive into all the investment opportunities from today's news, subscribe to my newsletter at moneymatters.substack.com. I will be sharing a deeper analysis of the key investment opportunities from today's news, including what makes these opportunities stand out and how they fit into the broader market trends. By subscribing to the Malaysia Money Matters newsletter, you will also get exclusive insights on my watch list and portfolio and fundamental reports on Malaysian listed companies.